Most victims of crucifixion suffered a preliminary beating before execution. With Jesus, however, it was different. Instead of using a conventional rod or a whip, the Romans used what they called a flagrum toxulatum. This instrument of torture, though reserved for those convicted of committing non-capital offenses, was far more severe. The multi-thonged whip had pieces of broken pottery, lead, or glass, and sharp fragments of bone connected to the ends of each strand. After being struck at least 40 times with such an implement, Jesus' back was literally torn to shreds. Not only massive bleeding occurs, but muscle, tissue, and even backbone could be exposed. A man condemned to be crucified was required to carry his own crossbeam from prison to the place of execution. In Jesus' case, a distance of almost 1/2 mile. This crossbeam, called the patibulum, weighed approximately 110 pounds. For Jesus, this wooden beam rested over an extremely lacerated shoulder. In his already weakened condition, falling under the weight of the crossbeam was inevitable. Since Jesus' arms were rendered helpless by being fastened to the patibulum, there was nothing to break his fall, and therefore falling and striking a stony pavement face downward could not be avoided. Severe contusions and possible fracture caused increased facial swelling to an already severely abused condition. No one knows exactly what species of thorn was used in making the mock crown Jesus wore during and after his trial. However, it is generally known that Palestinian thorns can easily reach a length of 4 to 6 inches. These thorns are so strong and sharp that it was commonly used as a tool in order to punch holes in thick leather. The crown of thorns that Jesus wore not only pierced the skin, naturally causing extreme bleeding, but could have actually punctured into the skull. Since the crown literally covered Jesus' head, any deliberate blow or the impact received from falling down could have caused the thorn to penetrate even deeper. When Jesus arrived at the place of execution, called by the Romans Calvary, he was laid down on the ground and on top of the crossbeam, both arms extending outward. A 7-inch nail was then driven in the carpi, or wrist region, of each hand. This procedure was called by the Romans the atrocious crucis, or frightful torture. For when the nail passed through the 2 rows of bones in the wrist, it would strike the median nerve, which controls muscle and nerve reflex actions. The soldiers would then lift Jesus up by the crossbeam and onto the fixed vertical stationary beam called the stipes crucis. From the time Jesus was lifted up by the soldiers until his feet were nailed to the stationary beam, and thus lessening the stress on the hands, there was a concentrated weight of over 400 pounds dragging on each nailed hand. The soldiers then drove a nail through the second intermediate tarsal space of each foot. Crucifixion was one of the most gruesome forms of capital punishment ever devised by man. When Jesus hung on the cross, his very bones became disjointed. Due to asphyxiation, his muscles became tight as a bowstring. In order to speak or even breathe, he had to push himself up from his nailed feet in order to allow the trapped-in air to be released from his lungs. Excruciating pain from the lower limbs would take over, and Jesus would again be forced to slump back to his former position where asphyxiation instantly resumed its stranglehold. Also, tetanus immediately sets in, causing great muscle spasm throughout the body. These cramps would prohibit breathing, and so the process of slow strangulation again resumed its natural course.